Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the CineFiles Extended Cut, the show where we break down the biggest stories of the week as covered by the original CineFiles and some other stories that didn't quite make the cut. So if you like this, be sure to subscribe to MojoTalks for more. Guys, welcome. We got Justin, we got Phoebe, we got Liam rocking the beauty man bun.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm Matt. I'm your host.
Scrotum hat?
I don't know.
It didn't make an appearance.
Didn't
today.
make an appearance
Didn't
today.
make the extended.
We're all
cut
feeling
today.
good today, though. I think the vibes are good today.
Yeah, we have good vibes today. And you know what? Let's just jump into what you're watching. So I guess we'll start with my pal Justin here to my left. What have you been watching?
Been watching a bunch of stuff, man. Went back to the theater to go see Infinity War for a second time.
Oh.
Really?
That movie's long.
I don't know how you sat through that movie.
Like
Second
it?
time, it's 2.5 hours.
Or?
A little bit more.
Yeah.
You're
Two
contributing
and a half and change.
to the eventual $1 billion it's going to
Isn't
make.
the half a change?
No, more
change
change
part?
than that. Even more change. But yesterday I watched the HBO documentary on Andre the Giant,
Oh, interesting.
which is called Andre the Giant.
Very
That
out of
actually
character
looks
for you, I feel.
pretty sad.
It's really good. And you know what? I'm not a big wrestling fan. Like, I've never been that into wrestling. So, like, a lot of the interest in the documentary for me was just, like, learning about the pre-WWE, WWF world of wrestling, where it was just, like, these local tournaments kind of thing. And Andre the Giant would just, like, tour them all, and people had never seen anyone like him, just this giant human being.
Yeah.
So it was kind of really interesting for that. It is definitely sad. It has a, you know, he passed away pretty young. So there was like a sad ending to the documentary. Spoilers, but it's
real life.
It's really good. I highly recommend it.
I find sad wrestling documentaries is a very interesting niche of film.
Haven't been that many.
Beyond the Mat is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You should watch
Yeah.
that. It's on Netflix.
Would
Great
you say,
documentary.
like, if you weren't necessarily a WWF, WWE fan, that you would enjoy this?
I've never watched wrestling
Oh,
my
no,
whole life,
okay,
so I
okay.
really enjoyed it just from like the human interest perspective, and like this guy was really
Crazy.
really fascinating.
Yeah,
Nice.
sure.
Phoebe, what have you been watching?
I have been rewatching the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Are we talking extended cuts here? Or,
Yes, the deep cuts, the extended cuts.
deep cuts.
Great films. I love them. I just started reading the books. I feel like I came so late to this franchise, but it's so great.
when was the first time you watched it?
Like last year.
Whoa.
You're
Yeah.
already doing another rewatch?
Yeah, of course. They're incredible.
Got a lot to make up for.
I also watched the Hobbit series, which is just not. It's
get
not
off our
as good.
panel.
And I can tell you right now that I think for me, Lord of the Rings feels so much more authentic because of the costume design, because of the the set design, and I feel like The Hobbit was just so much more digitized,
Yeah.
and it just didn't feel real to me. And
Yeah.
it was also like the book is so playful and fun, and they tried to make it into like this epic trilogy a la Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, but it just didn't translate.
I was
as
reading
well.
some production stuff, or like I guess it was an article came out this week about Evangeline Lilly coming out and saying that she is like a huge fan of the Hobbit books, or the
Okay.
Hobbit's book. I guess it's only one book.
Yes.
And she was saying that she only wanted to do the movie if she wasn't going to be part of a love triangle or something like that, which I think they agreed on. But then like
Yeah.
later on they added it.
Totally made a love triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah. A very
And-
weird
and
love triangle, by the
So
way.
like that's kind of, I don't know,
Yeah.
kind of a dick move on their part.
Wasn't that movie also shot in like 60 frames per second or
Yes.
like
Yeah.
120?
It was
or
kind of a
something like
gimmicky
that?
thing where
Yeah.
they wanted to have these like super fast cameras.
Yeah.
I think the idea was that like a lot of TVs were being made
Yeah.
in that format, and they wanted something that didn't look like.
But the look
like
is
a
so terrible
soap
that
opera?
I
Yeah.
thought of that as soon as you said like it didn't feel authentic. and
No,
just
I
kinda-
think,
it didn't feel. It felt very weird.
Yeah.
It was
I think
all-
Peter Jackson wasn't even like attached to that movie till like a bit into production.
Well, it was
too.
supposed to be Guillermo del Toro, no?
Was it?
Early on? I remember hearing that it was
I don't know.
for
I
a
didn't know
long
that.
time during
Yeah.
production. It was supposed to be Guillermo, and then at the last minute they were like, "Hey, Peter Jackson, you did the first ones. You want to do this one?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
This must be good.
A fun
'cause
tidbit
coming
about
back
the
to it.
Hobbit trilogy is that they went way over budget because they
sure.
wanted, that extra, and Peter Jackson actually paid for
Out of
the-
pocket.
out of pocket
Yeah.
for the rest of it, and
Sure, he made so much
unfortunately,
money off
it
Lord of
was
the Rings.
not. It did not make it better.
No, I think we can all agree with that.
Yep.
Liam, you went to the theater, didn't you?
I go to the theater a lot recently.
By
I
yourself?
normally used to not go. No, I actually went with resident. I don't know, resident also film person Eric
Thanks,
Cohen.
thanks
Which
for
I
the
have gone
invite.
on record and said that Eric is my favorite WatchMojo employee. He's the best.
Have you met me?
We got to stop saying
Yes,
that.
I have.
Yeah, more than enough.
I saw the movie Tully, which I think comes
Sully?
out. No.
Tully.
Sully from Monsters Inc. No. I think it comes out this week with Charlize Theron, directed by Jason Reitman, and written by Diablo Cody, who famously made Juno.
Yeah.
Which is a movie that is very polarizing. I've come to
I love it.
learn. I like it too,
yeah,
but I
too.
think I understand why people don't like it. We talked about it in our review, which you could check out. I think it comes out. I think it should be out by now.
Coming out today.
I think it's out like at 10 or something. I don't
It'll
know.
I
probably be
directed
out by
it,
the time you
so.
see this. So check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I think they've really learned their lesson since Juno, because Juno is so in your face. Like the writing is everything that comes out of Ellen Page's mouth is like so snarky and so
Yeah.
like, oh, like I'm just like a hip like. But I think like Charlize's character is very much like that, but it's very toned down. It's great. It's a movie about like motherhood and
Yeah.
kind of dealing with babies and.
Like in the
babies.
modern era. So
Yeah,
to
for
speak,
sure.
right? Yeah. Mackenzie Davis is in it too, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
Love her
in
so
love
much.
with Mackenzie Davis since that movie.
Me too.
Oh, my.
High five.
Yeah, it's great. Check it out. Definitely a week after Infinity War, it is definitely much more of a toned down movie that I think everyone can enjoy because
Nice.
everyone can relate. I don't know.
I like that they are making a movie about a mother and the not so glamorous aspects of being a mother. And
Yeah.
I think that that's going to resonate with a lot of people. I feel like postpartum depression is something that's not talked about a lot in the contemporary media landscape, but it's so important and
true,
so
yeah.
many women are affected by it. So I'm really excited to see this movie, and I'm going to take my mom to see it as
Definitely,
Oh,
I think it's a movie that like to see with your mom. I said in my review in the review that I wanted to call my mom after. I didn't
Yeah.
because it was like late at night, but
Oh,
well. Did you call her the next day, or you just like
I'm giving her a
forgot
shout
that
out
you
right
love
now,
your
Mom.
Oh,
I love
that's so
you.
cute.
Let's all give a shout out. Mom,
actually
I love you.
a good segue.
I think Mother's Day's coming up. Yeah,
Shout out
There you
moms.
go.
We should have came out on Mother's Day.
It's I was saying it's a good segue into what I was watching this week. I saw Kodachrome, which is a
Ooh.
Netflix original film. I find it's kind of like you didn't really hear about it. There wasn't much advertising for it, but Ed Harris is in it, who's amazing. There's also Elizabeth Olsen of Infinity War fame, and Jason Sudeikis, and it's basically a film about Ed Harris. He's an older gentleman who's dying from liver cancer, and he's estranged from his son for like 10 years because they had like a very bad relationship. But then Elizabeth Olsen's character is like his nurse. And she goes to meet him. He's like, "Yeah, your dad's dying, and he really wants to get this film developed, but it's only being developed like halfway across the country." So they go on. It's like a road trip movie.
Oh, nice.
Super
Cool.
good. So it's like a father-son story, road trip movie. I kind of bawled.
Is it not a comedy? Jason Sudeikis for me is like
See,
comedy.
I thought it would be. It is comedic, but it is mostly a drama, and I wasn't exactly expecting that. I was hoping to really like it. The first maybe like third of the movie, the writing's kind of like a little cliche and too on the nose, but after that, it just becomes brilliant. So, definitely check that out. Everyone listening,
Did you
please.
watch it by yourself?
I did watch it by myself.
Why don't you ever make fun of him
What
for
a
watching things by
loser.
himself?
But this was at the comfort of my own home, so
The setup kind of sounds like the Tom Cruise plotline from Magnolia, with like the estranged father and the
Oh.
nurse that like
that's
makes
interesting.
the connection.
That's a good
With
connection.
with the road trip aspect.
There's no road trip in Magnolia,
No.
unfortunately.
It did
but,
give me Little Miss Sunshine vibes a little
Oh,
bit.
cool.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, that's a good
So
movie.
I definitely suggest it for you
I think,
guys and
sorry,
also our listeners.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go off a bit of a tangent here, but
Okay.
I
up.
think the reason that you don't hear about it is because I think people have lost faith in Netflix for movies. I don't know. I think
I
like
mean, this
people have kind
is-
of like hear Netflix movie and they're like, all right, well, this
Yeah.
is just gonna be something I check out down the line.
It is a Netflix original, but it wasn't like produced by Netflix. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival last year.
We call
And
it TIFF in
then-
the industry.
Yeah, TIFF
I'm not in
for
the
all
industry,
you.
I
I have
don't
a
know.
TIFF mug. It's not this one, unfortunately. But yeah, so Netflix just bought the distribution rights. So
Cool.
But yeah, definitely check it out. So that basically wraps up what you watching. And next, we're gonna talk about the 3 biggest stories of the week. That's gonna come up right now. All right, we're back, and we're gonna talk about the 3 biggest stories of the week. And we're gonna start things off with a new trailer that dropped, guys. It's another Marvel story, but Marvel's all over the news, so I mean, we got to talk about it. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Dropped the second trailer. Well, we know the story. Ant-Man teams up with the Wasp, has to fight. Who's the villain? The Ghost.
Ghost.
The Ghost looks
Yeah.
very interesting. We got a few more shots of of it, him, her.
Her.
There you
She.
go. Justin
It.
knows all the comic book
Come
stuff.
on.
So I guess the quick and dirty question here is, with all the success of Avengers Infinity War, is this going to be a worthy follow-up? Or is it going to kind of like...
It's gonna be a palate cleanser, I think.
I'm excited.
Oh, I like
I'm really
that.
excited for it.
Touch upon that more. Palate cleanser.
Well, it's a comedy.
Yeah,
it's a
And,
Paul
and
Rudd,
Infinity
But
War.
Infinity War is funny. Like, it's not devoid of comedy.
Do you think
I don't
the ending of that movie was funny?
Right. Yeah, it has a pretty like it balances the sadness with like there's a lot of funny moments in it,
But like
the Ant-Man
nothing
movie,
different than any other Marvel movie, right? It's like
I disagree. I mean, like the Avengers movies, like even Civil War kind of has a downer of an ending, but like the Ant-Man series so far has been pretty straight comedy.
like
the
Guardians of the Galaxy
Guardians
as well.
and
Good comparison.
Yeah.
The scene where he like grabs a truck and uses it as a scooter, I was
Yeah.
howling.
Yes.
That was pretty funny.
the
He's
idea
just
of
pushing it with the one leg.
making
So
things
good.
big, making things small, it's gonna be
the
funny.
ending. The ending of the trailer, I think, is exactly what I want to see out of a Marvel movie. Like that bit
Oh.
with like this comparing sizes,
Yeah, that
and
was
like Paul
hilarious.
Rudd's like facial expressions. I
Yeah.
think are like hilarious, and I think it's like stuff you see in like role models or
That's
I don't know. What
Paul Rudd
American
is
Summer
so funny. He's so perfect for this role.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing Ant-Man, and we were just talking about this. Like, I feel like it's so colorful and fun, and it's just like such a light movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that Evangeline Lilly, which is the second time that we mentioned her in this podcast.
Yes.
I'm really
My
excited
favorite.
for her to take on a bigger role in this film because she was really good in the first one. She has sort of that like deadpan style of delivery, and I think
Yeah.
that she's gonna kill it.
No fuss, no muss.
I
with
think
her, yeah.
it might be a hot take, but I think Paul Rudd's like the funniest comedic actor working today.
He's so good.
It's his face. His face like changes. Do you know what I mean? Like, did you ever see him on Jimmy Fallon when he was doing the Queen,
Yeah.
like lip sync battle?
yeah,
that
that's so
was
good.
so
He's
funny.
amazing.
Like, he's so funny.
He
I
can
could
just
go- I
work
could-
it all in his face.
Yeah.
Just make a podcast about how funny Paul Rudd is. I swear I could
Well,
talk
nobody
about him all
would
day.
listen.
Oh.
Damn.
Nobody would listen
Uh,
to anything I make. So
In Civil War,
God,
just the
so
scene
sad.
in Civil War, in the scene when like he's in the van and they open it up and you see him for the first time,
Yeah.
and he's just like sleeping, and he's
Yeah.
like,
He's
Captain
great.
America, oh, so nice to meet you, and it's like, what does he say? Thanks
Thanks-
for
thanks
thanking
for
of me.
thanking
Yeah,
of me,
So
yeah.
good, so funny. Yeah.
He's great.
So Justin, what do you think? Do you think it's gonna be a worthy follow up? Because I will say this, he's kind of like I won't say like least liked, but it's kind of like one of the least popular of the superheroes in the Marvel universe.
I think it's
no?
just like the most standalone. No,
Well,
like,
they even call it out in Infinity War, like when they're talking to Bruce Banner, they're like, "Can we call anyone else?" And they're like, "Well, Ant-Man is like in house arrest." And there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man. Like, what the hell? I thought that was a great joke. But like, yeah, Ant-Man is such a weird kind of on the perimeters character. I mean, in the comics, he's always been part of the Avengers, like from the very start. He was one of the founding members. A different Ant-Man, not the Paul Rudd character, but Hank Pym, who's Michael Douglas in the movie. I feel like following up on Infinity War, this was like an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, the big conversation online is like, when does this take place? Like, no spoilers, but like the ending of Infinity War had like quite a drastic impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's like, does this take place before? Does it place after? Is that twist going to happen at some point during the movie? Maybe a post-credit scene? So there's a lot of discussion about like how that plays into this movie.
it's definitely.
I'm curious to see how
I
that.
have a theory about what will happen at the end of
Oh.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I will not say it because it is a spoiler. So if you
Wow,
want to
you
know
just-
it,
you,
just
like,
like
presented
contact me
it.
any way
Yeah,
possible.
DM
put it on a
and
platter
took
and
it
then take it
away.
away.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think the whole I'm surprised that Ant-Man is even a thing in movies because like I think like the only reason that the first Ant-Man was made is because like Edgar Wright did
For
half
so long, yeah.
half the work for them,
Right.
and then I think the only reason this one's being made so soon is because they were like, oh, we could just throw this after Infinity War, and people will see it because they will think it'll tie in somehow to.
And it probably will.
I think it's like there's a reason that Iron Man. Well, I guess yeah. There's a reason that there's no like Iron Man or Captain America or I don't know Hulk isn't the next movie, right? Because like they have faith in those movies to do well regardless. Whereas like Ant-Man, it's like I think that it's coming after Infinity War. It'll be such a big deal, like a bigger deal, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, it'll kind of ride the hype
Yeah.
of Infinity War.
And like
Right,
I think it's
right.
surprising that there's such a big gap between Ant-Man and the next Marvel movie. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we've already had that's going to be the third this year. So like it feels like you're right.
Oh, it is the third this
Yeah,
year.
it's
Oh
gonna
my
be the
God. And
third
it's only the
this year.
first half of
It
the year.
feels like
Yeah.
that, but we probably need a little bit of a break.
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. So
Yeah.
And like it's not even like Disney has Star Wars to fill the gap, right? It's like Han Solo is in May.
this May, yeah, instead
Yeah.
of the December release date that we've been having so far.
It's time for some production houses to be hitting the top of the box office instead. Then.
That's right. Yeah, they're leaving a
Interesting.
big gap for everybody in the second half of the year. So
Yeah.
hopefully somebody can rise up.
Yep.
Rise up.
So Marvel's going to take a little bit of break. We have more Marvel to talk about, but let's talk about another story first. Martin Scorsese, who is my personal favorite, most favorite director of all time. He was in the news this week, guys, and he's usually a happy guy, not really negative, but this time he took some shots at Rotten Tomatoes and CinemaScore. He doesn't like them.
Wowie.
He doesn't like them. I'm gonna read a quote he had. He said this at the TCM Classic Film Festival Awards. He won an award there, and this is what he said with his platform. Let me clear my voice here.
Do a
Do an
Martin
impression.
Scorsese impression.
The horrible idea that they reinforce. No, I'm not gonna-
Pretty good. That's
Not
actually
bad.
really good.
That's
Yeah.
really good, yeah.
So he said, the horrible idea they reinforce is that every picture, every image is there to be instantly judged and dismissed without giving audiences time to see it.
I agree.
I also agree with that. WatchMojo has a video, and it's top 10 like great movies with bad Rotten Tomato scores. And we're doing another one because there are just so many out there that have bad Rotten Tomato scores. One of them is Jumanji, the original film with Robin Williams, which I think is like
Oh, right.
such a classic for so many people.
Yeah.
And it's just like an example that, critics are so cynical, and they have such a specific set of parameters in mind for what they want to see in a film.
Yeah.
And even a movie as like classically renowned and is such a huge part of everybody's childhood has a bad score. I think what's more important would be like the audience score. I think that would be more important as opposed to the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Do you personally take more importance in the audience score than the critics one?
I go and see movies on my own, decision. I don't
Yeah.
say like, oh, I want to see a movie because it has 100% rating. I want to go see a movie because there's a lot of hype about it and people that I like and who have the same sort of tastes as me are recommending it to me. Because I know from experience that critics can be quite cynical and
for sure.
everybody has their own tastes.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to argue that Rotten Tomatoes is like a positive thing for the movie going experience.
And it's become
think
such
it's
a.
hard
It's become
to?
such
I
a
think it's hard to
crutch
argue that
for-
it's positive because like the other thing is that we have to keep in mind that like Rotten Tomatoes isn't a guy. Like Rotten Tomatoes isn't just
Oh,
like
man.
You know what?
I could go on about that
Yeah.
for so long. When Suicide Squad came out, it was
Yeah.
like,
Rotten Tomatoes just hates
Rotten
this.
Tomatoes hates
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
But it-
Yeah. People need a lesson on Rotten Tomatoes, it seems.
It's kind of difficult because in order to talk about Rotten Tomatoes, you have to like understand like, oh, what does that score actually mean and all this stuff. And it reminds me that like I have film reviewers that I go to that I like follow on Twitter that I kind of know what their sensibilities are. So when they give something like Infinity War a bad review, like there are critics that I really like that gave Infinity War a bad review, but I take that with the consideration that, oh, maybe they're not interested in superhero movies and stuff like that. When you come to Rotten Tomatoes, it's just like blanket statements about like, how did 200 people feel about this? And here's a number to represent that. It's not a great system. And also then you have people that like just try and play that system. Like there was a story when Lady Bird came out. It had a perfect score.
Oh, that's a very good point.
And then that one guy
Armand,
was just like...
was it Armand? Was it Armand
White? I don't think it was Armand White. I
That
think it
guy's
was
notorious for
hating good
then it's
movies
just like
and
a
loving
game,
bad
right?
ones.
It's like it's not even
Exactly.
like it's not an industry. It's just like how I don't know.
But you can't blame people for wanting to play that game when the game is being played. Like you can't get mad at the guy who's like, I'm going to be the one negative review of Lady Bird
Because it
because
gets
what
the
happens,
clicks, right?
It gets a million articles written about it. Finally, someone has taken Lady Bird to task, and like the review isn't even that negative. If you read his review, he's like, it's good.
But it's like what would happen if I
And now
wrote to Rotten Tomatoes and said I want this to be a
and now
Rotten.
his name is like in all these articles, like the guy who I don't remember the guy's name. So obviously the tactic didn't work that
Especially
well.
like,
But
if you go to Rotten Tomatoes website, it's like I'm sure so many people just rather than like reading people's reviews, it's like going to the Rotten Tomatoes page, scrolling down, and just seeing out of context blurbs about like what these reviewers thought of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to shout out quickly, Mojo Plays. We do some reviews over at Mojo Plays, and we don't give scores. And
I think that's great.
A real reason because of that is like you write this big review and you give your thoughts and your opinions, and then you're like 7.
And
It's
I think
what
I
does
think
7 mean?
does it
and I
mean?
think like
It's so
movies are
arbitrary.
so like black, like they're just like they're not like black and white, right? It's like I see like a movie like Tully, and I'm like, oh, I didn't like this about it, but I like this about it, and it's like, do I think that ruins the experience, that makes
Yeah.
it like a distinctly bad movie, or like I just like I don't know.
Okay, so here's a question for you guys, though. Let's say there's a movie that's coming out, you're kind of interested in seeing it, and then reviews start coming out, and Rotten Tomatoes gives it, or not Rotten Tomatoes, but the reviewers collectively give it, let's say, like a 35%. Would you, like, I know you guys personally, so there are times when you've seen ratings like that, and you're like, yo, that's garbage. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother seeing that.
Yes.
But like, I think those are for movies where it's like I wasn't going to see them regardless. You know what I mean? Like if a movie is like in the works, like I'm trying to think of an example. Like I'm a big Terrence Malick guy, and Song for Song came out Song to Song came out last year, and I was like so excited for that movie for like so long, and then it gets
same.
rotten score, but I'm like I still want to see it regardless because I like Terrence Malick, I like Ryan Gosling, I like all these people.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if like the cast and talent behind it is something that interests me, then I'll see it regardless. I don't think
You guys,
because I'll always find something that I like about a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really take that into account. Like I said before, like I'll take the opinion of people that I know have the same sensibilities as me, that want to see the same things as me. I also think like it's never a wasted moment when you go to the theater to see a movie. I think that it's always fun, it's always nice, even if the movie is bad. You know, I would never not go see a movie because it has like a 35% rating. I think that's just ridiculous.
right.
And there are movies that get really good scores that I have no
Yeah.
interest in seeing too. Like it's the other way around, you know.
That was my experience with Infinity War.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a good point because you know those superhero movies get great reviews. Black Panther was in the high 90s, but there's a lot of
you
people
go to
that are
see
like,
it and
I
you're
don't,
like, I don't see
care
the
about
difference
this.
between this and
And that's
Yeah.
a fair. Honestly, that's a fair thing to say. If you're not interested in a genre, and like the movie that you're watching isn't like subverting or trying to reach outside of that genre, like Black Panther is a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's a really good superhero movie. I like superhero movies,
Yeah,
so
so-
when I see it, I'm like, oh, I can understand why this stands above the rest. But if you're like, I unequivocally dislike this genre, you're not gonna, even
Yeah.
if it gets a
Yeah.
96 or it makes sense that you would
Yeah.
keep to your guns and be like, it's not for me.
Right. So do you guys think that people should be taking less stock into what Rotten Tomatoes puts out in terms of scores? It seems like when I read what I'm seeing on the internet, a lot of people are just like, oh, Rotten Tomatoes sucks anyways. Just, you know, go see a movie if you want to see it. Like, what do you think? Do you think even like Martin Scorsese saying this might make people not care about Rotten Tomatoes even more so? Or do you think
I
people's
think it's
minds are
just
already
like
made up?
there's so many mindless people out there that are just reading this stuff and like
Mm-hmm.
are putting so much faith into it. I don't think anything's changing, and I think it's just like people that aren't going to be swayed. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also a
I
result
think-
of the speed of the internet, right? Like it's so much.
Yeah,
It's
for
such
sure.
it's such a tough sell to be like, hey guys, don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes. Find a critic that you really like and
Yeah.
like read the criticism and like
Yeah.
really understand what.
No, but I could
this
just
person
read
has to
this
say.
number and
Yeah.
get an
Yeah.
idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You Google it. It's the first thing that comes up. You're like, I understand
Yeah.
everything about this movie now.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
bad, and I will go on my life saying that it is bad.
You're making me sad, Matt. This news is making me very sad.
Okay, so let's skip this then. That was a good conversation. But maybe this will pick you up. I mean, it's picking up at the box office. I'll say that.
Oh,
Good
nice.
segue.
You like that one, eh?
I liked
Nice.
it.
So Avengers Infinity War, we talked about it last week, but we're going to talk about them again this week. So we had mentioned that it was looking to hit $250 million opening weekend, which would have broken the record, I should say. And it did, except it crushed $250 million and went all the way to $305.9 million, which beat the previous record holder, The Force Awakens, which had $247 million. And the records don't stop there, guys. It also became the fastest movie to hit $300 million at the box office in North America. And it's probably going to hit $1 billion really soon. They're projecting like in the 10th or 11th day. And that would make it the fastest to hit $1 billion. And again, it beat The Force Awakens, which hit $1 billion, or it could beat The Force Awakens, which hit $1 billion in 12 days. So, I mean, we've seen it all week. Marvel's everywhere. They're at the top of the box office, what seems to be like all the time. On Twitter, they even had like that picture of the Star Wars character handing the lightsaber over to what I thought that was the lamest thing ever.
I don't want to say what I'm gonna I'm not gonna go there.
It's brutal because people are like, oh, it's like classy move. It's like, no, it's not. It's the same
It's the
studio.
same company,
They don't care. They're making the same money anyways. Anyway.
And then when Star Wars breaks that, the next Star Wars breaks that, they're gonna do the same thing.
Or are they gonna do?
They're gonna
like
hand it back.
Giving
or something.
the Infinity Gauntlet to Luke Skywalker.
Here's the shield. Here's
Or then
the
like shaking
gauntlet,
hands, and it's like the Infinity Gauntlet shaking hands with like
A lightsaber?
with
Yoda.
just
Like
like
that.
Luke's robot hand or something.
Wouldn't that hurt?
There you
Good
go.
pull.
I saw something this week that was like it outpassed like Justice League's entire opening
Yeah,
in
like
the
7
first
days?
weekend.
It's
Or it was like the
gross. Yeah,
in the first week, and it's like
4
Justice
days.
League was supposed to be like DC's
Yeah.
big movie, and like Infinity War's not even like a week into their. I don't
They
know.
just
Yeah.
reached a week. Just now.
This is
We're
insane.
not necessarily making fun of DC. We're just pointing out facts. I just want to say that.
Okay.
We'll say
sucks.
that. DC sucks.
We're laughing a
Liam's
little
like,
bit.
I'm ready to make fun of DC.
Oh man.
We were talking about this before. I think
Yeah.
that the difference between the DCEU and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is fun to watch.
Whereas DC is.
Not.
Too serious. The stakes are too low. It's too dark. The colors are boring.
There's no
and
colors,
all
yeah.
of it. You know what I mean? And then you have a movie like Infinity War. It was like, it's beautiful. The colors. It's upbeat. You know, they have good chemistry with the cast and everything. It's just completely different.
Liam doesn't like
Liam,
either of them. So
Jump
it's like,
in here. What were you
I
gonna
still
say?
think. Oh, I'm gonna get so much hate for saying this.
Oh boy, I love it.
I still
Go.
think Marvel takes itself too seriously. Is that too
Are
much
you
to say?
I don't
disagree.
agree.
I
There's
still
a scene.
think
There's a scene in
it's like
Infinity
Captain
War.
America is like so like serious that entire movie.
I disagree.
Okay,
oh
and then
my
you have
god!
then
Every
you have a
time he's on
movie like-
screen, I was like, man, like
Well,
cut off the flow.
Wow,
flow of
you
your
don't like
hair.
the flow? The beard?
Oh man,
He gets called out.
think
for
about
the
him
beard.
in that movie compared to him in the first Avenger. Yeah,
Yeah.
Correct.
He's like so like I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna get so much.
Liam's
We
hate.
don't even
mad.
know what you're saying at this point.
I love Cap.
This movie's really heating up. People really like this movie. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Oh
It's
man, yeah.
People-
That top 10 that we published this
MCU
week.
movies. Yeah,
Plug
people-
it. Plug it. What is it?
Top 10 MCU movies. We got a lot of hate for putting it
At
lower down on the list.
People are saying it's number
But
one.
it's been out for not even a week.
That's just the hype they feel like the day or two after seeing it.
I could see the argument. Look, it's a combination of two things, right? Like, had the list come out right after we put out Black Panther, people would have been like, Black Panther's number one. And had we done it after Thor Ragnarok, people would have been like, Thor Ragnarok is number one. Whenever, like, these movies are good. And every time
But
one
give them
comes
some
up,
time.
you got to give them a second.
Oh, for sure.
Like, the
You
reason
gotta let 'em breathe.
Civil War is number one is a number of reasons. One, it, like, holds up 2 years after it came
Yeah.
out, which isn't that much time, but still. And, you know, Suggest Page also, people
Yeah.
voted
Yeah.
for these lists. Civil War was number one. Regardless, that's a bit off topic, but I think that the thing about this movie and where it stands in this, like, whole legacy of Marvel, ultimately it's half a movie, right?
It is. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
like
true. That's a good
That's
point.
the thing. That would
A
be
few
like
years
saying the
down-
best Harry Potter movie is like
Deathly Hallows
Part
Part
one.
1, which is a bad take if that's your opinion.
Yeah.
You're fully
Yeah,
wrong.
so
That's a really bad
Yeah.
take.
it's the same thing. It's like this isn't even a movie. It's like an episode of a TV show.
It is
Yeah.
a movie. I will fight back on that a little bit. It is totally a movie. It does not have an ending.
I'm already
though.
getting roasted.
Does not have an
in
ending.
the comments.
This
Tiny.
movie ends with an act break.
I'm the troll of the comments.
I guess we'll just end it on this last question. Because it's dominating so much at the box office. Does any other studio really have a chance at outperforming Disney in the
No.
long
This
run?
year?
No, like sure
Or
this
just-
year or in the long run. I mean, Star Wars isn't going to end anytime soon. Avengers isn't going to end anytime soon.
They have mastered the franchise model, and I
Yeah.
think that like there's not really, in my opinion, like any other studio that has it down packed like that has like such a good system for it, and I just don't. They'll just keep acquiring these enormous franchises.
But it's not even like there's that many franchises out there that are like, I mean, Warner Brothers has a great one. Warner Brothers is a great
don't know what
franchise,
to
but
do
they don't
with
know
it.
what to
Yeah,
do with it.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
But it's not like there's like it's not like Paramount is sitting on like something where they could just be like, all right, now it's time to release.
Transformers, Star Trek.
Like,
Yeah, Liam, I'll throw it to you
Universal
just quickly.
is well, like there was that list that came out recently that was like top 10. I think it was like the highest grossing or something. Oh, I don't know if it was all time, but 9 out of the 10 are Disney, and I think of that, like probably most of them are Star Wars or Marvel.
Yeah.
And then the only other one I think was Jurassic World or something. I don't know. Like Jurassic World, like is that gonna even top it? I feel like that was just like a fluke that happened to be.
Will it top Infinity War?
No.
No,
but I think
no.
like that movie was huge, but I think it was a fluke. Like I don't think they're gonna be able to replicate the success of Jurassic World.
That's interesting.
We'll see.
Box office success, I guess. I don't know.
But
I mean,
like
definitely
sequels do tend to do like build on the success. We talked about this before. Sequels do tend to build on the success.
Yeah.
And but you know what? That movie set such a high bar that I'm curious.
And I also think like opinion of that movie has kind of dipped a bit. I hated that movie when it came out.
Wow.
I think people have come to realize that the movie's not that good.
Yeah.
You hate everything.
Liam does hate
Liam's an
everything.
naysayer.
You
Loves
know
the
what?
Florida
I hate
Project.
you.
I just said I liked Tully.
I like Tully. Well, Liam hates Marvel, but it's good.
Phoebe hates Liam.
Phoebe hates Liam. Oh,
Me and Matt love
that's
each
so
other.
sad.
I was in such a good mood at the beginning of this episode, and now it's tarnished because I'm going to get hate.
So, okay, that basically wraps up the 3 biggest stories of the week. We hope you enjoyed that. But there are also a couple other stories that we want to talk about that didn't make the first original CineFiles, and we're going to get to that next, guys. Okay, welcome back to the CineFiles Extended Cut. If you want to check out the show as an audio podcast, we're on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. So now it's time for the cutting room floor, guys. We're going to start with a pretty heavy one. It was announced that Roman Polanski and Bill Cosby were ousted from the Academy. They're no longer members.
Academy of Motion Pictures?
That's the one, the big one. So, I mean, simple question. What do we think? I think we can all say probably deserved.
Probably the best course of action.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this when we noticed that James Franco was not nominated for Best Actor this year at the Oscars.
Oh, on our little show.
I got a lot of hate for that, and guess what? I don't care. They deserve it. Bye. Good riddance. Nobody cares. And you can drag me in the comments all you want. I will just laugh at you.
I'd like to point something out.
I like that.
Drag me in the comments.
I'd like to just point something out. Bill Cosby, it's like obvious why now they've chosen to do this because he's been convicted and like
and he built up a brand of being the like role model type, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like in terms of the timing of this, like I understand why now versus before they decided to be like, you're out of the Academy. For Roman Polanski, it's very weird because nothing new has come out about Roman Polanski.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
just-
in
yeah.
that time frame, he's won an Oscar for the pianist. It's like
It's
true,
basically
right?
them just saying like, oh, finish your thought.
well, no,
Go ahead.
it's basically all credit due to the Me Too movement, basically
Yes.
being like
100%.
we have no tolerance for this anymore.
But
and
that's
like it
weird.
points out the
Okay,
tolerance
okay.
that we've had for it.
I just
for
want
so
to
long.
But
jump
there
in real
was-
quick and say, like, you mentioned the tolerance thing. The only reason Roman Polanski is out is because they're like, well, we have to kick Bill Cosby out. Oh, wait, if we do that, don't we look like hypocrites if Roman Polanski's still on?
Okay,
I
but
wanna
isn't there
say-
Good
isn't there
call. We have
more
to take them
names?
both out, yeah.
Isn't there more names that were outed? And I'm sure some of them are probably in the Academy too. No.
Yes.
Like
but these
is
are
like
like
is
the 2
is
biggest.
Is Harvey Weinstein
No,
not
he
in
got
the?
kicked
He
out.
got kicked
Oh,
out earlier
like
on. Okay.
immediately, basically. Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
want to say that I feel like I've been reading a lot about the Bill Cosby case, and I feel like there are a lot of black activists who are saying like, good, we took Bill Cosby to task. Now it's time to take all of the other white people who were accused of these crimes to task as well, and not only, you know, this one entity. And I think that is a really, really smart move on their part.
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
I think that it's a long time coming, and like you said, it's a history of tolerance, and it's like you said, all credit due to Me Too and all of these like super brave women for coming out, and
Of course.
it's
I
just
think,
gonna keep
like,
getting better.
Yes. Yeah.
The Bill Cosby stuff was so much quicker than most of like the white actors.
Yeah, I
are
think
getting.
that like whether or not you like see it, I think that it has a lot to do with race, and I think that it's really it's a good move for them to also be doing that and taking everyone to task and not only a certain type
and
of
these
person.
executives, right? Like a lot of it is, you know, it's easy for. I think a big part of the Bill Cosby thing was also the fact that it was a very publicized thing, and people recognize the name, right? Like you hear Bill Cosby has been accused of this, and you immediately like, oh, this is something that I care about, and it kind of becomes like a media circus, obviously, because people give a shit and they want to see what's going on in that case. But when it comes to like the unnamed agent who groped Terry Crews,
Oh, yeah.
or
Yeah.
all that
Still
stuff.
in the industry,
All-
still
in the
running
industry,
stuff.
still
Yeah.
actively trying to destroy
Yeah.
Terry Crews' career, which he's
That's
been very
insane.
vocal about, and
Yeah.
it's crazy how much influence that kind of thing has, and it's just kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is like the whole Me Too movement has been. Hopefully this is a move in the right direction. Hopefully this is a move in the right direction, and there hasn't been regression whatsoever. So I'm really hopeful that like this will just propel this kind of like stance forward, and these
Yeah.
people won't be able to have the kind of tolerance that they've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the ball of judgment is definitely still rolling for
Yeah.
sure. Any other final thoughts before we shift gears a little bit on that?
What's with the depressing news this week?
Yeah, I mean,
This is positive news.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
That's
not.
No,
true.
no,
depressing,
it's definitely positive news, but I
Yeah.
just mean like this very serious discussion about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's a long time coming. It's such
great.
a
This is
nice
great news.
moment for people who are victims of sexual assault and sexual abuse. Like it's really a
Yeah.
victory, and it's important that all these voices are being heard. And I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I 100%
Agree with that.
agree,
Totally agree.
of course. So we'll shift gears a little bit. Black Widow, they're going to make a movie about it.
I still don't believe it, but yeah. So
Yeah,
so far, that seems
I
to be
shouldn't
the-
say they are, but they're definitely like really mulling it over now.
Yes.
And proof of this is that Marvel/Disney apparently have interviewed 65 directors who could potentially direct this one. That's a lot of interviews, no? Like, what do we think of that? That's crazy.
Well, you guys all look at me.
You said,
Because you're the
loudly.
naysayer.
You're gonna answer.
I think
yeah.
I think you were looking at me before I said I don't know. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I mean, there
This
was
is
no
good.
names thrown out.
I didn't see any names. They're just like they're really getting the ball rolling here.
Yeah, that's. I mean, would it be ScarJo?
Suppose like yeah, you'd think I'm not convinced. Like it feels like
Why is it so unlikely that this is going to be a thing?
not that it's unlikely. It's just like I feel like if they were gonna make a Black Widow movie, they would have already.
And it doesn't seem to be like really part of the whole MCU plan either, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's weird. And the other thing is, they interviewed 65 directors. I'm really curious to see, and it almost feels like they would be dropping the ball if they didn't go after a female director,
Oh, for sure.
considering
Yeah.
the
that's
success
the
of things
first
like
thing
Wonder
that
Woman.
jumped into my mind. Yeah.
I think it has to be that way.
Right. I feel like ScarJo at this point, I think she would do a Black Widow movie, but it's a question of like, how do you tell that story at this point in the MCU?
That's what I agree with.
I don't know if she would. From what I could tell watching Infinity War, it seems like most of these like people who have been in the MCU for so long are kind of sick of it.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I think I've read like interviews where they've interviewed Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it's like about high time that they actually make a movie about Black Widow. I'm
No,
totally
for
on
sure.
board
I think-
for it. I don't know if that necessarily means that she would act in it or if she just thinks that it's something that's needed.
Can I have a
Yeah.
hot take?
Sure.
I am tired of Scarlett Johansson.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That is
I'm
a
I'm tired of
Fighting
Scarlett
the good
Johansson
fight.
doing roles
I'm
like
tired
this.
of her. No, I don't know. I
Why?
think that it would be an opportunity to sort of find somebody else for the role.
I would
I don't
actually
know.
agree with that.
I'm,
I think
I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a little
I
bit
don't
tired of her. I feel like
know
she's
about that.
oversaturating the market.
Because who do you replace her with? It's like you're not going to get better.
how many
than
how many
Scarlett
how many like
Johansson.
young emerging
I think-
actresses are there that you could replace her with?
Name
I think
'em.
more it's like like I don't
There's
know.
7 billion
Yeah,
people in the
yeah.
world.
I don't know if the movie's gonna happen. I'm tired of Scarlett Johansson. I am.
Bold.
That's-
Bold
that's-
take.
yeah.
I could
I
never
think-
get tired of Scarlett
Yeah, I love
Johansson.
ScarJo.
She's
But I
like a
like-
tremendous.
I don't know if I like
actress.
her in roles like this. I don't know. I think like there's just like no range to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
she's
I
got to
see
Black
get.
Widow.
She has to have an opportunity to have range, right? Like it's
But
tough.
then is Black Widow that like I guess if you have a standalone movie it is. But
yeah, totally. It's
from what I've seen of her in like the Avengers and stuff like that, she doesn't really get much characterization.
Yeah, well, barely anyone does like really get those character moments and those big ensemble pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's been around for so long. Like she's been around since Iron Man 2, which
Yeah.
is a long time ago. She's one of the OG Marvel members. I'd love to see a standalone movie, but until they're like, this is happening, I'm not convinced.
And if you do recast her, it can't be part of the MCU at all. It has to be like a
Prequel.
complete. Yeah,
You could do
I
a
was gonna say
prequel.
prequel.
I think it's crazy that it took Was it Captain Marvel? Is Captain Marvel the first standalone female
Yes.
Marvel movie? I think it's crazy that it took that long.
And it's still not even out.
It's
yeah,
still
there's
not even
out. Post production. Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah. Moving on, another superhero story. It's all over the news. It's kind of a clickbaity one, if you ask me, and especially if you ask Justin. We're gonna throw it to him soon.
Ask Justin,
Please.
So Ryan Reynolds was all like, "Yeah, Deadpool 3, not happening." Gasp, shock, but not so much, right, Justin?
Yeah, because there's going to be an X-Force movie.
Yeah,
That's
so that's
Deadpool
basically
3.
Deadpool 3.
Yeah, you'll see plenty of Deadpool. Don't worry, guys. They're not going to stop the presses. They're not going to stop printing money.
And I think
too profitable.
I don't think like Ryan Reynolds wouldn't ditch Deadpool. It basically
No.
revitalized his
Yeah,
career.
that's a
He wore like what was he doing
career-defining
before
role.
that?
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're going to take the X-Force route. I mean,
What can we expect with that, potentially?
okay, so it's
Let me
tough.
set the table here, guys.
Yeah, the X-Force is
the
a
table.
result of the gritty 90s in the comic books. In the late 80s, there were two books. One was Watchmen, the other was The Dark Knight Returns, that were like, what if superheroes were dark? And those are great stories, but then everyone was just like, yeah, great idea. So every superhero became these giant guys with elbow pads and pouches and giant guns.
Pouches?
That's
Like fanny packs?
Yeah, little pouches where there's this
kangaroos?
artist.
I don't get it.
The guy who created Deadpool is very well known for like just throwing a bunch of pouches on every character.
I'd love to see one of these pouches.
Even
Fanny
Deadpool,
packs.
his original, had just like this belt of like. Anyways, they're super dark. They're super gritty. They have giant guns. I want to like. Obviously, this is being played for laughs in these movies now, which I think is the right decision. But like, if we're doing a full-on X-Force movie, I think they should keep the tone of Deadpool and not make it like the actual X-Force
Oh
comics.
no, that would be a huge mistake.
Yeah,
No, I
totally.
mean you've established this R-rated, super hilarious. You can't deviate from that.
He needs to be the centerpiece, and I think
Yeah.
like a big part of X-Force is Cable, Josh Brolin's character. So he's obviously going to be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And their dynamic is interesting because obviously from the trailer we could see Josh Brolin's character is like super serious, and that's more closely the tone of X-Force. It's like, I gotta save this kid. I'm from the future.
Wow.
So I think that'll be an interesting dynamic, but
Yeah.
I hope that it maintains the funny tone that people like and doesn't try to go all the way. Like even
Yeah.
Deadpool calls it out in the trailer. He's like, "What are you from the DC universe?"
Oh
at one
my
point?
God.
Which is
Sorry.
I find that
Dang.
Deadpool is a little too self-aware.
I
Almost too
I
much,
saw
yeah.
that.
I
saw
can
that
see
trailer
that. I
in the
agree.
in the theaters, and I loved the first Deadpool, but even I cringed a little bit when he was like, "What is it, dark and gritty, like the DCU?" It's like, all right,
Yeah.
you're referencing things that are in our world now. It's like,
Yeah.
I've
he
kinda
calls him
warmed-
Thanos at one point in the trailer.
Yes.
but like,
Yeah.
do
That's
you
pretty
think that's
funny.
going to be in the movie, or do you think it's just a
Good
throwaway?
question. Good question.
I think
We'll
it's a
see.
little too recent, and they're trying to get people to.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. We'll end on that note. We'll see.
Great place to
see.
land.
We'll talk about new releases really quickly here. Tully is coming out, which
see
you've
it.
seen.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
I would give it a thumbs up.
Yep.
Better than Sully.
Better
say
than
that.
Sully. Ooh.
Better
Tully
than
versus
Sully
Sully?
from
Dang.
also better than Sully from Monsters Inc.
Hey.
Bite your tongue.
Whoa.
But not better than the song from Monsters Inc., which we've been singing all
We've
morning.
been listening to all morning.
And the other one coming out is a movie called Overboard that stars
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris. It's a remake.
Yeah, it's a gender swapped.
Yeah. Oh, it's gender swapped. Is that the
The
difference from the original?
The original was with
Patrick-
Kurt Russell.
Kurt-
Maybe? No, I don't know.
Kurt
Russell
Russell
and
and
Goldie
Goldie
Hawn.
Hawn.
It was their like big
Yeah.
vehicle to like be like
Was
we're an it couple. Yeah.
Yes.
Full disclosure, I had not ever heard of even
No,
the
I've
original. I was like, oh,
I've
this is a remake?
gone through it a few times at work.
Personally, I think the trailer looks like hot garbage. Does not look good.
Hot, steamy garbage.
What's wrong with hot garbage?
And
Everything. It smells. Doesn't look good.
Those are two things.
That's two
things
things,
I
but
love.
that's all you need to know. So those are the new releases coming out this Friday, or today.
Check out
actually.
Tully.
We should say today. Liam says check out Tully. Overboard. We're not Rotten Tomatoes. Watch the
haven't seen it
trailer,
yet.
make the decision for yourself.
Maybe I'll see it and maybe it'll be amazing and maybe I'll
knows?
tell people to go see
Who
it. I don't know.
knows?
Another. We'll see. Another. We'll
Another
see.
we'll
Another
see.
we'll see.
So that basically wraps up the show for today, guys. So to our listeners, thank you very much for listening. And if you want to check out more, be sure to subscribe to MojoTalks. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. So until next time, guys, have a good one. Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to our MojoTalks YouTube channel for the video version of the CineFiles Extended Cut.